everyone. This is Terri Abelson, and I'm here with another pop-up interview. Before I get going any further, I need to let you know that I have a cold. So, as you can see, that's probably pretty gross. I have a cough drop in my mouth. I figured a cough drop would be better than listening to me cough all over the place. So, just so you know, I don't have anything weird, just have a cough drop. I want to thank you for watching this pop-up interview. If you've never watched one before, I'm glad you're here. You're going to love it. Just trust me on that. You're going to love it. Everybody loves it. If you have been here before, thanks for returning. I understand that there are a lot of things in your life that are vying for your time. And the fact that you chose to come spend a little bit of your time with me, really, it's very, very flattering. And it's just extremely moving to me. And I really appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the little bell down below so you can subscribe to this channel. They're pop-up interviews, which basically means they just happen whenever. So whenever I post something, if you have subscribed to it, you'll get an email notification. So just go ahead and do it. As the young people say, or my kids at least say, mash that bell. Just do it. And while you're there, the thumbs up is right next to it. So go ahead and just hit that because you're going to love this interview because they're all great. Because we're all great. I'm real excited here today to have Casia Courtier. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Woo, okay, I was practicing in my head. And she's going to talk a little bit about all the things that she writes. But before she starts talking, I want to say happy book birthday.
Thank you.
She has a book out today in Devious Ingenues, and it's done by Perfectly Poisoned Anthologies. And let me tell you, I am so impressed with the work that Natalie Bates, what's her last name?
Natalie Nicole Bates.
Natalie Nicole Bates. Sorry, Natalie. I am so impressed with the work that she's putting out and the authors that she's gathering together for these stories. Just go check it out. It came out today, and I will make sure and have all the links down below in the description. And so why don't we start off with that? Why don't you tell us a little bit about the story you wrote for that? Tell us the theme of it and how it got about.
All right. Well, the anthology theme itself is about basically Hollywood corruption.
Okay.
There is a Montgomery Studios, which is a Hollywood Studios, and they do a yearly competition in order to find their next it girl. And every story has to do with one of the girls in this competition. And my girl happens to be named Anna Ricci, and she is not a nice person. She's not a good person at all. And the title is called Daddy's Girl. And she is basically, she will do anything to bring back her reputation, bring back her high society life, because she's not used to what her father, not used to the life that she has been pushed into because of her father's indiscretions and crimes.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I like that idea of all the stories being connected. A lot of anthologies are done based on genre. So it'll be like contemporary romance. Go out and write something that's contemporary romantic. Or paranormal. Go write something that's paranormal. But I like the idea of a specific theme. Now, did Natalie create this studio, or did you guys create it as a group?
Oh, she did.
Okay, so she created the backstory.
Yes.
And I think that's how she does a lot of her anthologies, is she creates a backstory and then invites people to write basically within that world, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're not writing anthologies, what else do you write?
I'm actually currently writing a young adult Hansel and Gretel retelling.
Okay.
It deals with, it's a contemporary story, and it deals with family grief and anxiety and depression, and the main character has to basically fight through that and learn to forgive herself, as well as forgive the people who have harmed her and her own family.
Okay. And that's a pretty timely topic right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been timely. I really think, we've always suffered with people throughout the time, the ages have always suffered with depression and those types of mental illnesses. But I think people are more inclined to share that with other people than they ever were.
Yeah. And in fact, I'm a person who has anxiety and depression, and I have had like a form of grief in my life that pushed that. And so the story has taken a long time because of the fact that it pulls in a lot of my own personal feelings and scares and all that other stuff.
So it's a very cathartic experience for you, would you say?
Yes, very much so.
And why Hansel and Gretel?
Because my own personal experience had to deal with my brother had a near drowning accident when he was about almost 2 years old, and because of it, he now has cerebral palsy and is of a different mental age than what a normal 20-year-old should be, or he will be 20. And so I wanted Hansel and Gretel because I like the family dynamics. I'm very family oriented myself. I'm the oldest out of 6 kids. And so just having that sibling connection and just having that sibling connection resonates well with me.
And being the oldest, did you feel responsible for all the others?
Yes.
Do you still feel that way?
Yes. Yeah, the youngest is now 18, and so but I have to remind myself not to have the mommy 2.0 mentality.
Yeah, that has to be hard. Are you a pretty close family?
Very much so. There was a time where some of us were unable to connect again, but we're unable to stay connected, but just recently we're all back and chatting all the time, and so we're extremely close.
Do you have a lot of cousins and stuff like that too?
No, actually, I personally only have 6 cousins, and they all live in the other side of the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually a lot of cousins though. I think I have a few, but I'm not in contact with any of them. So you guys have a pretty big family. How does that influence? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like, just the immediate family itself is pretty big.
How do you think that influences the way you approach writing?
And I never really thought about that, honestly. I mean, ever since I started reading, I knew I wanted to be a writer. I think, if anything, it's helped me to write more often because of all the stress of being, a person in general, but also like the oldest and feeling responsible, even though I'm technically not. It putting all that stress on the paper is probably what would be it.
Were you a journaling person before?
Not much.
Okay.
I did a lot of poetry writing when I was going through the really hard times.
Okay. I was having a conversation, well, not a conversation, like I guess a Facebook conversation. I don't know if you consider that a real conversation or not, but she was talking about journaling and how much journaling has helped her. And I go back and forth on journaling, whether I want to do it or not. A lot of times it's just, I'm a little lazy. I mean, let's be honest, I'm a little lazy. And so the idea of I'm in the middle of doing something and, let's stop and write about it. But it's really helped her a lot. And it's helped her writing develop too. So, um, I noticed you have a bunch of hats and a minion bag.
Yes.
Who
I
likes,
have a 7-year-old son, and so we have all his coloring books in the Minion bag.
awesome. And the bear?
That is Winnie the Pooh, and it's a Halloween decoration.
Okay.
Yeah, he just decided to have it in here and left it in here. So
So you have a 7-year-old. Do you have any other children?
not right now.
Okay.
We would like to, but currently we're just sticking with him.
How do you find it difficult to balance your time?
Yes, very much so. Um, yeah, he's a very active person. I'm more of a homebody,
Okay.
and unfortunately, Bug likes to run around and be in everything and being with a lot of people, and so it does make things difficult. Like I want to be able to help him be with all those people, but then it's like I kind of need to be alone. I kind of
Right.
want to. No.
Right. Which, I mean, do you think you're probably more of an introverted person as opposed to an extroverted?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I am too. That's why I was asking. And I have extroverted children. And so I totally get what you're saying. And I find it really interesting that for them, they need that connection to people in order to rejuvenate,
Yes.
in order to, fill their soul, their wants, their needs. And for me, I need to every once in a while go, you know what? I need to be by myself so I can refill my soul and my energy. And I just find that real. And when I was younger, I was like that too. And a lot of people misinterpreted that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I mean, I got called not necessarily to my face, but I know behind my back, I was called not some very nice things. And I want to try to keep this as PG or so as possible. So, but people misunderstood what that is. So have you experienced things like that?
I have, but I kind of do the I guess I'd like to call it like the comedic way of doing things.
Okay.
So like whenever I was bullied, I just started calling myself that very name and making fun of it. So that way I owned it, and then they no longer could do anything with it.
Yeah. When you're writing this story, this Hansel and Gretel story, are you pulling in some of that comedy that you used in your own life?
There are comedic moments. There's a character named Henry, and he works at an auto shop. And when the main character actually first sees him, he's dancing to Shake It Off by Taylor Swift with his broom. So that's like it's one of my favorite moments. And he just kind of always brings in comedy, even though he's not technically a comedic character. He just brings it because that's the way he copes with his own personal grief and tries to help the main character.
Why did you choose to do YA as opposed to like adult or NA even?
Um, I'm not entirely sure. I think a part of me just wanted to do. I'm more of an adult writer. I like the far more darker side of things, but I guess this one just resonated more for a young adult audience versus an adult audience.
So it sounds like it's probably just really this one's your passion piece.
It's become that way, yes. I didn't realize it until later on in writing it that this is the book I really want to query out to agents, and this is something that is every character has a part of me or a part of my family, and it's like a little baby right now.
Yeah. Have you written other books besides the the one that came out today, and then the Hansel and Gretel one you just mentioned?
I'm in a few more anthologies.
Okay.
There's a speculative fiction anthology I'm in called Tales of Alternate Earths 2. There's 3 enchanted anthologies, Unmasking the Ripper, Forest of the Dark, and a book that just recently has been pulled off the shelves now. That is called, hold on, Capture. I had a look. And I have about 5 more anthologies coming up. I'm currently working on a short story for Bad, Bold, and Beautiful.
Right.
Which I believe you're in as
Yep.
well.
I was going to say, that's how we met, as we met with that one. Could just out of curiosity, for my own sake, can you tell us about that story that you're writing?
Oh, yes. It is, right now I don't have a title for it, but I have given it the code name Banshee. And basically it is about a banshee. It's about my main character is a female spirit who is following this one person, and I can't give much away because that would be an extreme spoiler, but I'm really happy with it.
Well, we could just pretend that we're not on video and that this isn't on YouTube. We can just sit and chat. Maybe we'll chat afterwards. You can talk to me about it. And I promise, wink, wink, I won't tell anybody. I'm actually, my character is, for those of you, if you didn't quite get that, Bad, Bold, and Beautiful is another anthology by Perfectly Poisoned Anthologies that's coming out in May, I believe, right? Next month?
No, it's July, I think.
Okay, so then it's due in next month.
Yes, it's due next month.
Okay, I get kind of confused by all these. And the whole purpose of this story was, it was a female paranormal character who, I believe the description was badass, as we all had to create a badass female paranormal character. And there goes my PG rating. So anyways, so say all you want now. But mine is she's a demon who was part of Lucifer's army, and she was granted release from the army and has gone. She now lives amongst humans, and she owns a bar, and it's called Tango Fuego because that's the name of her bar. It's a burlesque bar, and she basically collects strays. She's got like a line shifter who's been cursed and can't shift. Her piano player is a siren who knocked up a mermaid, and he's confused now because his mother has already prearranged his marriage. Now he's got this mermaid who's pregnant. There's a former demon hunter who was bit by a vampire, so she's been excommunicated from the demon hunting. So she's in there too, and it's crazy. There's it was kind of fun to write, and I'm actually hoping that I can take this more and do more stories with it.
It looks like that would be that ensemble cast itself would be really good for like a series of stories.
Yeah, see, and I love, I don't know about you, but I love the ensemble cast concept. You know, I'm a huge Friends fan. I mean, huge. I could probably like recite every single episode with the characters, but I'm drawn to those types of shows, and I'm finding more and more that's what I enjoy writing.
I like ensembles too. I haven't really had much of an ensemble written, but I like the dynamic of like, well, back to my Hansel and Gretel story, Breadcrumbs. That's what I've titled it.
Oh, I like that title.
Thank you.
A lot. I really like that. That has so many double entendre, I think is the double meanings of that. I love that. I'm probably not saying that right, but whatever.
It's actually titled that way because when the main character and her brother get lost in the woods, he actually etches something with his Swiss Army knife on the trees in order for them to find their way home. And she's like a little girl at the time, and she's like, well, how are we going to find home? And he goes, well, just follow the breadcrumbs, obviously. And that's why I use that as the title. But anyway, she has a group of friends, or gains a group of friends in this book, and I like the way they all feed off of each other.
Right. Well, and I think it's like that in real life. I mean, I can say, you know, I mentioned, I mean, I did say I'm an introvert. I am a huge introvert. I claim it. I own it. I'm proud of it. I should have proud member of the introverted club. Now go away. But I have those people that are in my tribe.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I created these pop-up interviews, this is the second season. I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh, I didn't.
But Jerry Seinfeld, I don't know if you've ever seen his show, Comedians in Car, Getting Coffee or Coffee with Comedians or something. I don't remember what. But he would travel all over the country. Well, I can't travel all over the country. My budget for this, I bought a mic, and that's it. But I like the idea of connecting with other people to expand my tribe and to meet other people that I wouldn't have normally had a chance to meet. And so I think in real life, it's a lot like we all have our group of people that we hang out with.
Very much so.
Now, what I was like about that title that you gave is the idea of, okay, so he carves these things in the trees, but like, are you giving us little bitty clues along the way to tell us? Yeah, I mean, I love that.
And in fact, the book is written with, the first chapter is a flashback. And then the second chapter, I think it's like every 3 to 4 chapters in between the flashbacks, is her life in the present day. And you learn bits and pieces of what's going on with her current life. And in the flashbacks, it ties into a bigger arc that's going on. Like another little girl goes missing in the town that she lives in. And that also feeds into her own past, and it just goes on.
So is there going to be a sequel?
I plan on it just being a standalone.
Okay.
So
it sounds like there might be some other stories there, though.
There might be. I don't know. I haven't really finished writing it, so if there is, then there is. But currently, I'm like standalone.
Okay, so you mentioned, I want to go back to a minute. You mentioned an anthology called Ripper.
Yes, Unmasking the Ripper.
Unmasking the Ripper. So I'm assuming that's Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, here is the cover. See? Ta-da!
Oh, it's beautiful.
No, isn't it? It's from the anthology, the publisher, Enchanted Anthologies. And, oh, hold on. There, sorry.
That's okay.
It's from Enchanted Anthologies, and it is an intertwined anthology. So every author has a specific character that they write, but each story has to do with the larger picture. So what we were given was a storyboard from R.L. Weeks, and she so we had to write with our specific character in mind. And my story is called Elementary, and that is about a lab rat FBI agent named Dan. And
Dan?
Dan. Danielle is her full name, but it's
okay.
Dan. And that deals with her having to get ready for the trip back through time to Victorian London.
So you did a lot of cross genre there. You got the detective story, you've got time travel, plus you probably have, I mean, just this whole speculative fiction type situation too. Oh, let's go back. That was my other question. Let's go back to that. You said something about a speculative fiction anthology. I don't think a lot of people understand what speculative fiction is. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course. Speculative fiction is kind of like the what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Man of High Castle, I think that's the title.
Mm-hmm.
That's a speculative fiction because that's the what if Hitler won World War II. Steampunk would be, which is a subgenre, would be considered a speculative fiction genre as well. For Tales from Alternate Earths Volume 2, there we go. That one has to do with many different stories from alternate universes of Earth. So there's one that deals with the first landing on the moon. There's my story, which is called The Accused, and that has to do with the idea that the Salem witch trials never ended. And it's
Oh,
during the 1990s.
oh, I would be in so much trouble.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I pulled into the idea of book burning, and Harry Potter is
Mm-hmm.
was a hot ticket when I was a kid, and having it being burned all the time. So I used that as one of the things that happens in the book, my story.
So, speculative fiction is getting really popular now thanks to The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
Now, do you watch that series at all?
I have not, and I haven't read the book yet. I've been wanting to. I've just been kind of busy reading other stuff.
Right.
I also do reviews for my blog.
Oh, okay. What's your blog's name?
Casia's Corner.
Okay, sounds good. I'll come back to that. Let me make a note because I'm going to come back to that in a minute. I haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale, and I haven't read the book. I'm very hesitant to read it because I know it's really heavy.
Yeah.
And it's really like, oh, I don't know, I've heard a lot of people say it's so close to reality right now that it's weird. And so I don't know if I want to read it, but I know it's one of those things I feel like it's almost like eating your vegetables. You feel like you should do it,
Yeah.
but they're not always that great. I'm sorry, Margaret Atwood. I'm not comparing you to vegetables. I promise I'm not. Okay, so you do reviews on your blog. So I have a lot of authors that I talk to, and one of the things we're always looking for are people who can review books. Are you open for reviews, or do you just always pick the ones that you choose?
I'm open for reviews. I basically, whenever I get an email and the book intrigues me, I'm like, okay, sure, let's do this. I
Okay.
like it.
Okay. So I will make sure and post your link to your blog down below. And so that authors, if you're watching this, go to her blog, find out her policies, make sure you stick to what she would like, and she might help you out by reviewing your book. So that's always good. Do you
I'm an all genre reader, so
I'm sorry, say that again.
all genre reader.
Okay.
I don't really have, I mean, nonfiction is probably the only one that is like
Yeah. How-to books. Oh my gosh, I cannot read a how-to book.
No, me neither.
Or, I used to read a lot of self-help books just because I just was so drawn to that. And then it was and parenting books. When I was first a parent, my parenting library was just like up to here. And I just started realizing how repetitive they were.
Yep.
And like with parenting, a lot of the books that were written by the experts, they were mostly men. And they had a job and somebody else was taking care of their kids while they were at their job. And so I was with my kids in the beginning 24/7. I needed somebody who knew what that was like,
Same here.
And then my mom was like, she's very old school and she would just kind of go, whatever, Terri. But she said, your daughter can't read all those books, right? She has no idea what she's supposed to be doing. So she's like, you know, do what you need to do, but really maybe back off a little bit. And I did, and it really helped. So yeah, I don't read a lot of nonfiction book either.
Yeah.
I do like biographies and memoirs though.
I haven't really read much of those, so.
I think if you get one that's really an interesting person that you like.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's somebody like, I can't even think, like maybe George Washington, I probably wouldn't be drawn to a biography on George Washington.
Yeah.
Because that's just not somebody necessarily that stands out to me that I'd like to have lunch with.
That makes sense.
Well, Casia, I hate to say this, but our time is up.
Oh, wow, already.
I know, huh? Well, you're always welcome to come back again. Anytime you have a new release or something and you want to talk and just sit and chat. And well, when that Hansel and Gretel book comes out, when you get, and if you're watching this and you're a publisher, you need to check this out. Just do it. Just do it. Just because Terri says do it. It should be my new mantra. Terri says do. I should just call these the Terri says do it interviews.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and being here with us and talking about your books.
Well, thank you.
And thank you very much for watching this. If you haven't already, please hit the bell down below so you can subscribe to this channel. It's the best way to find out information about when the videos are released, because you get an email every time I publish a video. And if you are interested, if you are a blogger, oh, we got a visitor.
Sorry, my dogs.
That's okay. If you are a blogger, if you're an author, if you just want to come and talk about books, go to my website, terriawilson.com. I'll have the link down below. Hit the link for pop-up interviews. We interview dogs too. We've had dogs, we've had cats, we've had babies, we've had authors, we've had all kinds of people. It's crazy. You never know what's going to happen. Anyways, thank you very much, and everybody have a great day.